something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber
Well, it sure is, and I'm glad to see you bright and early again today. Glad to have you on board for the conversation. We're kicking off another brand new day here in the heart of America, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom here at the Steve Gruber Show. And it makes me ask, who do you want in your foxhole? Who's going to be there when the chips are down? Who's going to be there when it really matters? All right, we're burning daylight, and we need to get rolling. So here we go. 3 big things you need to know this hour. Number one, it seems that John Bolton had classified documents in his home when it was raided by the feds, which means, well, he wasn't telling the truth. Number two, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says if Mamdani, the communist running for mayor of New York City, comes looking for a bailout for left-wing programs, that answer will be a hard no. And number three, another day, another act of despicable political violence fomented by the rhetoric on the left. This is not a both sides issue. And I'm afraid these tragedies are just going to continue because the left refuses to take any responsibility at all. Let's lay it out, shall we? 3 people were shot, 1 killed in a nice facility, Dallas, Texas. Happened yesterday morning. The alleged shooter, 29-year-old Joshua John. And preliminary evidence suggests he was motivated by far-left anti-ICE ideology, among other things. But get this. This idiot didn't even kill ICE agents. The 3 people he shot were all immigrant detainees, and he killed one of them. This is where unhinged violence leads. You see, he was up top shooting down into a van indiscriminately in the Sally Port. And how do we know it's far-left violence? Well, here's a picture. The FBI has released an image of unspent cartridges bearing anti-ICE messaging, making the political motivations crystal clear. Again, maybe Jimmy Kimmel will make jokes about this too. Maybe he thinks this is funny, right? Maybe he does. These horrendous killings must serve as a wake-up call to the far left that their rhetoric about ICE has consequences. Comparing ICE day in and day out to the Nazi Gestapo, to the secret police and slave patrols has consequences. The men and women of ICE are fathers and mothers, sons and daughters. They get up every morning to try and make our community safer. Like everyone else, they just want to go home to their families at night. That was posted yesterday on the internet, as it should be. Democrats can deflect and deny all they want, but we have the receipts, and worse, we have the bodies. Here was Gavin Newsom the night before Wednesday's attack. Listen to what he had to say.
That's happening in the United States of America. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process, no oversight, zero accountability, happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? Bull, we're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country.
Yeah. Here's Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who represents the district right next door to where the shooter took those lives yesterday. Listen.
When I see ICE, I see slave patrols. Now, I never lived through the slave patrol period, but if you know the history of policing in this country, then you understand that they were born out of slave patrols.
Oh, born out of slave patrols. I get it. I'll provide you with another despicable example. Failed vice presidential candidate Tim Walz, calling ICE agents the Gestapo. Yeah, it's always back to making the law enforcement the worst people in the world, the worst people in the history of the world, in fact. That's who these folks are. Then they wonder why there's violence. Listen to this.
Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye, just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, that they just continue down this road? They don't care. They don't care. It's like they all got a sheet full of the same talking points that have emboldened self-wing activists to shoot up ICE facilities and harass ICE agents at home and at work and anywhere they find them. This is not, it's not a both sides issue. They can kick and scream and claim that it is. Well, the statistics say this and that. No, try again. In just the last few weeks, left-wing activists have, and I'll do this, 1, assassinated Charlie Kirk. 2, celebrated his death. 3, vandalized his memorials. 4, assaulted and threatened his supporters. Happened again yesterday. 5, shot up ICE facilities at least twice. Shot up an ABC TV station for not airing Jimmy Kimmel. Planted a bomb on a Fox News vehicle. Issued a bomb threat against RFK Jr.'s home. And that's just the partial list, folks. That's just the partial list. Less than a month ago, a trans radical opened fire on a bunch of Catholic children, murdering them through the windows during Mass. It's not a both sides issue. When will it stop? The answer is, I'm sad to say, it won't. It won't. Not until the left changes its tune. We're not going to see that anytime soon. No, they're okay with this, you see. The president of the American Federation of Teachers, still out here touting her book in which she claims that conservatives don't want their kids educated. You can already guess which term she's using to describe conservatives. It's so predictable. Randi Weingarten, here she is.
Why do fascists fear teachers? Why do they fear pluralism? Why do they fear knowledge? Why don't they want to help teachers help kids? So I wrote this book. I hope you read it. I hope you find it important. I hope you like it. Thank you.
Let's see here. Why fascists fear teachers. Why fascists fear teachers. Wow. They just don't get it, do they? They just don't. And in case it's not clear who she means by fascist, she sets the record straight in her piece in Rolling Stone. It's Donald Trump and the right, which I guess means me. I guess that's me. I'm the fascist. By the way, again, I say it again. I'm not a fascist. I am a father. I'm not a Nazi. I am a neighbor. I'm not a white supremacist. I am an American who believes in this country. By the way, that's the lady heading up a teachers union all over the country, influencing what they're going to say to the kids in front of the classroom. Yeah. How comforting. Liberals are just dishing it out in spades this week. Actually, here's Hillary Clinton just yesterday saying we need to stop demonizing our opponents right before, well, you guessed it, demonizing her opponents. Here's another failed presidential candidate. Listen.
We've got to stop demonizing each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I think most of that right now in our country's history is coming, from the right, coming from people who want to dominate. They want their point of view. Writing out slavery from history, that doesn't make it go away. We have got to stop with the finger pointing and the
How about we stop the damn
scapegoating.
lying? Enough of her. God, she makes me sick. Nobody's writing out slavery from history. They'll take one little thing. Let's teach slavery process. Oh, they want to take it out. Let's teach accurate history. Oh, they're trying to whitewash history. You see, whitewash because they're white supremacists. These people are truly sick. Truly sick. But they have an advantage, you see, because they've got all these little robots looking at their phones that think that a 12-second clip on TikTok is news. Oh, Charlie Kirk, he was a racist and a homophobe and blah, 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 blah. None of those things are true. None of it. And don't worry, we'll keep setting the record straight, as will hundreds of thousands of new members of Turning Point USA. I'll be right back. By the way, who else is getting demonized these days? Well, I am. Usually twice over. Right? Usually twice over. Because white Christian men, of course, are the mortal enemy of Democrats, of crazy old white liberals. It's white men that are the mortal enemy. I know because she said so. Listen.
Idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, you know, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology, it's just doing such damage to what we should be aiming for. And we were on the path toward that. I mean, imperfectly, lots of, you know, bumps along the way, but I agree with you, we were on the right trajectory.
Christian men, you're the problem. Christian men, you're the ones out killing people in ICE vehicles and gunning down political opponents at rallies. Oh, wait, that's not you. This goes exactly to the point that I made yesterday. The left wants a world with no morals, no strong men. We need strong men and fathers. They want a world with no guidance. Well, we're seeing the fruit of that. Wave after wave of political violence committed by left-wing nutcases, activists who have nothing to live for, apparently. This violence isn't just sprouting up organically, it's being organized and funded by left-wing mega donors like George Soros. Those are the facts. His organization, one of them, has donated $80 million to pro-terror groups in recent years. You might ask how they can operate so brazenly, with so much audacity and little shame. Well, the answer is because there are no consequences, because the machine shields its own. Look no further than Jimmy Kimmel. Suspended for cracking jokes about Charlie Kirk's assassination and pushing lies about the shooter being MAGA. Of course, it was a blatant lie. Now has his job back, and of course, they got big viewership the first couple of days. We got the non-apology, the fake waterworks, all the while completely writing off and rewriting what he did. He didn't take accountability for any of it. Listen.
I've been hearing a lot about what I need to say and do tonight, and the truth is, I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset.
But I can't quite say I'm sorry, of course, because I'm incapable of apologizing for my egregious behavior. That's what he should have finished with. He's chalking this all up to a misunderstanding. Let me be clear. There was no misunderstanding. He did point the finger directly at Trump and Trump supporters. We're not going to let you just whitewash your words. Roll the tape. Here it is.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Anything but one of them. It's nothing like us, Jimmy. Plain as day. Jimmy lied. If you're not going to take accountability, then spare us the fake tears, all right? Spare us. If you're not going to take accountability for what you said and what you did, that rings completely hollow. And that wasn't all we got from him. We got the same old, blaming Donald Trump when all else fails, of course. Listen.
President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke. He was somehow able to squeeze Colbert out of CBS Then he turned his sights on me, and now he's openly rooting for NBC to fire Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers and the hundreds of Americans who work for their shows who don't make millions of dollars. And I hope that if that happens, or if there's even any hint of that happening, you will be 10 times as loud as you were this week. We have to speak out against this stuff.
Yeah, well, gee, if there's income disparity, you should share this income inequality, Jimmy. By God, take a pay cut and help your staff out. He wants to wear the martyr's badge, but let's get something straight. His show is a joke. It's never been important to begin with. In fact, while he was on suspension, fun fact, reruns of Celebrity Family Feud took his place, and they got 2.5 times his viewership. Now, he had a big night the night he came back. We'll see where it is in a month or two. We'll see where we are in a month or two. And we'll see where we go from here. We will. We've got a lot more to cover here today. But until the left owns its toxic talking points and the fact that it is ginning up these killers like the guy at the ICE facility, there's not much else to do but for them to change their ways. We've got them. We've got them. I want you to be healthy. The Wellness Company has an assortment of great products for you. The best spike protein formula. It's the gold standard. The best emergency kits, gold standard. The best parasite cleanse, gold standard. And the best methylene blue, gold standard. Whatever you're looking for. Supplements, emergency antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics. It's all there at the Wellness Company. TWC.com/Gruber. TWC.health, excuse me. TWC.health/Gruber. You'll save money and you'll be a step ahead being healthy. We'll be right back. Yeah, a lot going on here. Documents taken from John Bolton's house during that federal raid. Yes, classified documents, meaning John Bolton lied. John Bolton, the former member of the Trump administration, national security advisor. He was raided. These are the kinds of, let's see here. On Tuesday, newly filed court documents shed further light on the probe. Those files recorded the FBI's apprehension materials marked classified, confidential, and secret. That according to Politico. According to Politico, the far left online outlet, right? Let's see. The same day the FBI raided Bolton's office, agents searched his Maryland residence, part of the investigation. The FBI affidavit used to execute the search warrant alleges he used a private email account that was hacked by a foreign entity and wrongly shared classified information. That according to Axios. You see, it's not the right tearing him apart. It's the left tearing him apart. He's a man without a country. Nobody likes him. No, nobody likes him. All right. You got any crypto in your holdings? You got any crypto? Because, well, corrupt elites got rich off crypto. Hardworking American patriots were left behind, but not anymore. Block Trust IRA is changing that, bringing the crypto opportunity to real Americans just like you. Crypto is fueling President Trump's America First economic miracle. Now is your chance to join the movement. The Animus AI trading platform runs 24/7, crushing old school strategies and helping patriots like you build serious wealth just like the elites. Named the #1 crypto tech platform by Bitcoin Magazine, BlockTrust IRA offers up to $200 million in protection. Their clients are seeing returns over 250% sometimes. Remarkable. Yeah. Whether you're a teacher, a truck driver, if you're retired, a small business owner, doesn't matter. This is your time. Get in the game. Get up to $2,500 in bonus crypto right now. Just sign up to SteveGruberCrypto.com. Look, I'm on board, folks. Do I understand it completely? No, not really. No, but I understand this. I see people getting rich while I'm standing on the sidelines, so I said I'm not doing that anymore. SteveGruberCrypto.com. SteveGruberCrypto.com. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. Coming up, the director of the Center to Advance Security in America. Congress must end DEI in the military, says my next guest, James Fitzpatrick. We'll talk about it straight ahead. All right, here we go, diving back into it. James Fitzpatrick, as I mentioned, is the director of the Center to Advance Security in America, a former official in the Trump 45 administration and an Army veteran. Sir, thank you for being here today.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Your concern is DEI in the military. Of course, DEI is a hot-button issue that has raised a lot of comments and concerns in recent years, for sure. Raised a lot of ire at people like Charlie Kirk before he was murdered, that he would question things like DEI in the military, or Secretary of War Hegseth, right? You think it must end. You've been there. Tell me why.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Well, let me just take a step back for a second. Look, for the entirety of the Biden administration, we saw Biden political appointees at every turn attempting to indoctrinate our great U.S. military into this sort of fake DEI nonsense, right? Thankfully, President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have gotten rid of that now. But that is something that has been done by executive power, and we need Congress to really act to permanently get rid of these things. And look, Steve, I could go through some egregious example of this
Yeah, please
in the military that my organization. So, I mean, just to name a few, right? We saw the Pentagon have officially sanctioned workshops on unconscious bias, equity training, pronoun guidance. We saw the U.S. Air Force set a goal to actually reduce the number of white males in the Air Force ROTC over a certain time period. And they actually set targets for a specific amount of race and gender in their officer corps. We would hear Secretary Austin all the time say that diversity, equity, and inclusion is the military's greatest strength. I mean, give me a break, right? And lastly, we saw West Point try to change their motto from duty, honor, country into something that they said needed to be more inclusive. I mean, you could just go on all day with these examples, and thankfully it's done, but we need to permanently get rid of this.
Yeah, does it reduce our fighting ability? Does it reduce our ability to defend this country, this pursuit of checking this box, checking that box, and making sure that, we look right, we sound right, or whatever? Is that helping us?
A couple of things on that. I mean, I think it does. It is a time suck, right? So you have soldiers needing to go through all these sorts of trainings and seminars and workshops and all that sort of stuff. It takes away from training, and then also it just affects the members of the military mentally, and I think morale wise, right? When they're being told on a daily basis that that it's not about the content of your character or being your ability of a soldier, but rather your race and gender or whatever else. It's divisive.
Yeah, it is divisive. There has to be a cohesiveness on the battlefield, whether you're on the football field, the basketball court. I don't care where you are. If you're a team, you have to be cohesive. You can't just have people that are pushed in there because, they look a certain way or sound a certain way or act a certain way, whatever. We need leaders. We need success. We've got to have meritocracy. We need the best people leading in all of those places, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think the other thing too, Steve, is it makes folks more worried about things like misgendering a fellow soldier, or worried about doing their next training rather than what President Trump has gotten the military back to, which is discipline, competence, strength, lethality, things like that. Things that our military should be focused on: fighting and winning the nation's wars and killing our enemies wherever they are on this earth. Right. They can't be worried about, offending a fellow soldier for, getting their pronoun wrong or some nonsense like that. And I think we're already seeing the new approach by President Trump and Secretary Hegseth working, right? We're seeing almost record recruiting. It's surging. All of the goals for this fiscal year have been accomplished after 4 years of the Biden administration not meeting those goals. And we're seeing a newfound interest in young people. We're seeing the advertising campaign by the administration get back to promoting the military strength and power, as opposed to, another example of the Biden administration. They had a drag queen as one of their digital recruiting ambassadors, right? This is not the kind of stuff that attracts young men and women into the military. So we've gotten away from that. I think it's starting to work. But like I said, Congress has to do their job. And this is really a test for them to step up to the plate and make these changes permanent.
It is time to make a difference. All right. So your plan to get there, you're never going to get cooperation from the Democrats on anything ever. So you're kind of drifting. You've got some mealy-mouthed Republicans that are never going to get you there. So we're stuck here. It's not fixable with the margins that we have. That's the problem, and I'm sad to say, but I don't see how you get it there. I agree with you, James. Yeah. I do. But what do you do about it? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic here. I mean, the House has passed, the NDAA that they've passed is makes significant progress. For example, they've eliminated all statutory provisions of DEI within the Department of War, banned any new initiatives. They have banned any sort of critical race theory language in anything related to the Department of War. So we've taken some good steps. The Senate version is not complete yet. I'm not as optimistic on the Senate version yet, but I think we need to view this as moving the ball forward. Any sort of permanent DEI changes we can get in this, we need to get, but we really do need to get a significant amount in order to accomplish this and make it so that if God forbid a new administration were to come in and get rid of all President Trump's changes, this would be much more difficult to get rid of if it's passed into law through the NDAA.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here, James. Thank you for we'll see what happens. I agree with you. You need to hire people based on quality. Quality,
That's
not
right.
Quantity. Quality. Sir, thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Steve.
Really appreciate it. All right, there you have that. Meanwhile, to New York City, I want to go to this real quickly because it's all of this same kind of soup. It's all the same kind of soup, which is move to the left, socialism, DEI nonsense. How about communism, socialism, all of that? Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, says if New York City comes crawling and begging for a bailout and they've elected Mamdani as their mayor, a guy who has gone after the police, who wants to eliminate police protection and wants to raise taxes and wants to give away free money to illegals, he said, don't come here. The answer will be no. The answer will be no, we're not going to bail you out. We're not going to bail out New York City if they're doing socialist things that make no sense for the people that actually live there and are actual citizens. I agree with that. I think Bessent is right. I guarantee you there's not a lot of things in life that are sure, but New York City will be coming for the federal government for a bailout if Mamdani's plans are implemented. And will you give them a bailout? It will be the same thing that Gerald Ford said, drop dead. He said that on Mornings with Maria. Yeah, Mornings with Maria. Why not? Just say, no, that's not going to happen. This part of the program brought to you by Exodus, reducing your inflammation every day. Try ExodusNow.com. It's a natural, holistic supplement that combines 2,000 years of ancient wisdom with modern science, featuring 7 biblical ingredients like frankincense, myrrh, and cumin, paired with the groundbreaking benefits of molecular hydrogen, designed to soothe joint and muscle discomfort, reduce your inflammation, and make you feel better. Try ExodusNow.com. I take it every day, my friends. Try ExodusNow.com. You're going to be glad you did. When we come back, the conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk's murder. I've had about all I can take. I'm going to talk about it today. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. But let's talk about it. All right? Coming up on The Steve Gruber Show. Jumping back into it now. All right, so every day I get on, and I look at the social media here. Every day for more than 2 weeks now. And every day there's a new theory about how Charlie Kirk was killed and everybody's in on it. I'm like, really? I don't see how everybody's in on it. I mean, how many people, just for the sake of argument. Now, let me be clear about this. Is it possible, even likely, that Tyler Robinson had help pulling off the murder of Charlie Kirk? Sure. But from everything that I have seen, that World War I 30-06 is exactly what it took to kill Charlie Kirk. There's no magic here. There's no significance about the shot being 200 yards or just over, maybe. It's not even interesting. I'm talking to some people back and forth online about the bullet drop. Well, okay, maybe the bullet drops 4.5 inches, but for every little bit farther it goes out, by the time you get to 250 yards, the bullet drop could be a foot for that .06. Could be, depending on conditions. And don't forget, he's shooting downhill at an angle, shooting slightly right to left. How he hit Charlie Kirk is exactly how it happened. So when you talk about conspiracy, well, this can't be true. They're lying. The bullet can't be there. There's no exit wound. Well, in order for all of those things to be true, Erica Kirk would have to be in on it. The doctors at the hospital would have to be in on it. His entire security team. When I saw a video yesterday. I find this outrageous, all right? A video yesterday showing in super slow motion after Charlie gets hit, people jumping around and, this guy just took something from this guy and he ran away. Yeah, maybe they were keys to a car, trying to figure out how to get the guy to a hospital. I don't know. But to jump to the most nefarious possibility that somehow these people are all working in coordination, in concert together to kill Charlie Kirk. Come on. How many people would you have to have in that conspiracy? His entire security team, just 2 or 3 of them, they'd all have to keep quiet about it. I mean, look, there are tremendous amounts of video that we've not seen yet. I saw one yesterday I had not seen before, a different angle, right? All show the same thing. He suffered a devastating hit from a 30-06 that probably hit bone here. Maybe it lodged in his spine. Maybe the bullet was just under the skin, like some people said. I don't know. Is it a lone wolf? I don't know that. I mean, there were postings on social media ahead of time saying something big is going to happen. You'll know what happens, what it is when it happens. And then there were postings almost immediately after he was killed. We did it. Things of that nature. Every one of those people should be thoroughly investigated to see what their connection was, because it was all these back channels of the internet, these gaming channels and Reddit and elsewhere. Have you ever read Reddit? Ivy said that to me the other day. I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. I mean, you get into the crevices of Reddit. What garbage! All these little niche things and so forth. It's crazy. But well, I want you just to hear this. Candace Owen, right? Used to be, I don't know, I used to listen to her some. I don't really listen to a lot of people at all, but I'd hear her, now and then here and there. I'd hear her talking about, different important topics. Well, now she apparently thinks for this to have been pulled off, maybe Kash Patel and Dan Bongino need to be involved. I can't make that up. Listen.
I now believe there is a federal level of corruption and conspiracy involved in this murder, okay? From George Zinn to Lance Twiggs, the unanswered questions were like, what was he doing at home? What does he do for a living? Did they see each other that night? Why are we doctoring their messages? Why can't I read Lance's messages? If he's being so forthcoming, why can't I read how he replied and at what time these messages were sent, okay? There are too many things that the feds can easily do to dissuade us, okay? And they're not doing any of it. They're just doing that thing which is like, are we still talking about it?
So Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are now part of the conspiracy, according to Candace. Look, maybe you don't have access to these files and this information because you're not in law enforcement. Maybe there's an extensive investigation underway and you're not part of the team doing the investigating. Maybe there are things that need to be held confidentially for them to do their job. Did that ever occur to you, Candace? Honestly, did it? I believe there are potentially other people involved here because of the messages posted on social media. I believe it's possible that this was pre-planned because it now seems as if the killer, Tyler Robinson, was staking out the schedule, studying the campus, figuring out how he could pull this off. I don't think he did that in a vacuum. I don't think he did that all by himself. I don't. But until it's proven otherwise, I have nothing else to go with except that he is the killer. When there's information that is unavailable, people fill in the void. They shovel it full of anything they can find. They stuff it full. Ballistically speaking, I believe that the 30-06 is the murder weapon. He's not shot from behind. I mean, how about the people think he was shot from behind? Really? So everybody in this part of the crowd back here, they're all in on the conspiracy too. If he was shot from behind, that's why there's no exit wound. And if he was shot from behind, all the people in the front row would have been sprayed if that was an exit wound. Of course it's not, and it wasn't, and they weren't. It's frustrating to me. I want the facts like everybody else. But all of this speculation, all of these finger pointing, all of these ideas. Oh, look, this guy, he touched his hat, he's doing baseball signals behind him. Looked a little weird. It looked to me like he was rolling up his sleeves. I think we have one killer that maybe was assisted by others. Would I like to see some other arrests? Do I want to know where Lance Twiggs is? I do. Where is Lance Twiggs? What was his involvement? But the conspiracy theories, good Lord, they wear me out. What are your thoughts on that? Go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email. Maybe you'll tell me I'm nuts. Gruber, you're an idiot. Well, maybe I can live with that. stevegruber.com. Send me your thoughts. Is it a conspiracy? Is there more to it? Am I missing the boat here? I look forward to hearing from you. I'll be right back. All right, so Big Daddy sent me a note here on X, which I appreciate. A 30-06 with a Vortex scope, Vortex being a brand, can shoot 100, 200, 300, even farther, Big Daddy. That's exactly right. A 200-yard shot or 225 or 250, it's not even particularly interesting. It's a high-powered hunting rifle. Becky writes, so you believe only Oswald, only Crooks and Butler, Cash is in total control of the FBI? Look, open your eyes. Many wanted to see Charlie Kirk gone. That's right. A lot of people did want Charlie Kirk killed. But Becky, until I see concrete evidence, it's all speculation. There's 27 different, what, this? He got shot from behind. He got shot from the front. The guy's playing baseball. Stop it. Stop it. My eyes are wide open. Thank you very much. And I don't think anybody's ever going to know for sure who killed Kennedy. There's 27 books that all say they know the answer. Do you? Because I don't. And to sit there and claim that you know the answer to who killed JFK, stop kidding yourself. So there you go. Total control. Cash is in total control of the FBI? I don't think so. No, he's probably not. No more than Trump's in total control of the government. No, that's true, Becky. Very well done. Fact of the matter is, a 200-yard shot or 250-yard shot from a 30-06, I could have done when I was 13. Maybe when I was 10. It's not a special shot. It's not even interesting. That was the first thing I was seeing online right after the assassination. Oh, it's a remarkable shot, clearly a professional. No. No, it's not. And in fact, I will continue to contend that the guy missed the shot. He wanted to hit him here. He pulled the shot with a lousy trigger pull off a World War I rifle and hit him here. Yeah, he missed the shot, but sadly, it was a fatal injury anyway. That is what I believe until I can be proven wrong. Look, I'll say I'm wrong, but so far I'm right on the money. I'll tell you I'm wrong if I'm wrong. Right now I'm on the money. You can send me an email, stevegruber.com. Tell me I'm out to lunch. That's fine. I don't mind. I need concrete evidence. Speculation is getting us nowhere. It's a tragedy. That's what I know for sure. Charlie Kirk being murdered, assassinated in public in front of 3,000 college kids, that is a tragedy. One that I hope we can bounce back from. 2 more hours to go. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Always something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
It sure is. Glad to see you here as we bring to you the next hour from the heartland, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom every single day. Who is in your foxhole? Who's there with you when the chips are down? I'll take Anthony. He can be there with me. I'll take Anthony. See, how do you like that? See, son?
Yeah.
I support you. All right, three big things this hour. Number one, Republicans opening up major double-digit leads over Democrats on just about every major issue you can think of. It's remarkable. On crime, for example, it's the red team by 20 points. It's stunning, right? There you go. Number two, major TV group owners that control some 70 ABC affiliates are yet to return Jimmy Kimmel to the airwaves. Not good for ABC or its parent company, Disney. Number three, the left-wing gun nut that gunned down detainees at the ICE facility in Dallas before killing himself apparently got the anti-gun, anti-Trump, anti-America ideas at home. Yeah, I've got it right here. Let me share this with you. Mom, Joshua John is our latest left-wing nutcase, bringing political violence to the streets of America. Apparently, he perched on a rooftop with a rifle. I don't know what the caliber, but a high-powered hunting rifle again of some sort, it looked like, based on the casings that I saw, right? Shooting indiscriminately at a van in a sally port, so he couldn't see who was in the van. He ends up shooting 3 detainees, right? Killing him. I saw 1, and then it was 2, and then it was 1. So at any rate. But the mother of Joshua John, Jahn, the sniper who killed 2 migrants, here's the official update, 2 migrants in Dallas yesterday, had posted a series of anti-gun rants on Facebook aimed at Republican lawmakers not that long ago. Sharon John lashed out at Texas Governor Greg Abbott and GOP Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn over their support of the Second Amendment. Governor Abbott, Senator Cornyn, Senator Cruz, how does it make you feel that your action to open up gun laws is responsible for the killing of 21 more people? Do you secretly sit in front of the TV and smile a demented smile? You must be proud of all the money that sits in your bank accounts from the gun lobby. Was it worth it, Governor Abbott? How about you, senators? So there were these anti-Republican rants. 2 days later, she posted lyrics from Jacques Brel's 1956 song, If We Only Had Love. If we only have love, we can melt all the guns and give the new world to our daughters and sons. Well, her son fatally shot at least 2 people, critically wounded at least 1 more. The victims, migrant detainees, not ICE agents, even though there were anti-ICE scribblings on some of the bullet casings, we're told, and we've seen the pictures of it. And then he killed himself as police closed in. It's not a both sides issue. It's just not a both sides issue. So let me just go through a couple of things here. I had this polling numbers. I know I've got them. But the Republicans were just killing it. 20 points on crime, several points on immigration. Let's see, here we go. All right. I want to share this with you because this is important. 45% of adults nationwide questioned in a Reuters, this is a left-wing poll now, a Reuters Ipsos survey said Republicans have a better plan to deal with crime, compared with 20% of Democrats. A 20-point lead for the Republicans. The GOP has an 18-point lead over the Democrats when it comes to a plan to deal with immigration, a 12-point lead with foreign conflicts, a 10-point lead on the economy. I mean, the Republicans, this is a Reuters Ipsos poll, brand new, hot off the press. The Republicans' advantage over the Democrats on the economy came despite a new survey indicating 54% believe the nation's economy is on the wrong track. and only 35% saying they like Donald Trump's handling of the economy. Now, that notwithstanding, they gave the Republicans a 10-point advantage on the economy over Democrats, even though they don't like the way Donald Trump's doing things. Trump's approval rating on dealing with the cost of living even lower, 28%. This was conducted September 19, 20, and 21, so very fresh polling numbers. The Reuters Ipsos poll also indicated Americans feel the Republicans, by slight margins, have better plans than Democrats to deal with gun control, political extremism, and corruption. Democrats top Republicans when it comes to plans to deal with the environment, health care, women's rights, and respect for democracy, whatever the hell that means. Frank Luntz, a liberal pollster. He's out. He used to work for Fox. He's still at Fox. I don't know where he is right now. Frank Luntz. Anyhow, Americans have lost faith in the Democrat Party, even on Democrats' historically more advantageous issues like gun control. That's the opposite of what usually happens to the opposition party during the president's first year in office. And it follows a Fox News poll in July that found that while the Republican Party has lost ground to the Democrat Party in handling key issues, voters are more likely to think the GOP has a clear plan for dealing with the country's problems. Oh, and by the way, the independents breaking for Republicans too. Democrats have a problem here. They have a problem here, right? There's just no question about it. They have a huge problem here that they are not about to... Democrats don't have a plan. They don't have a leader. Who is the leader of the Democrat Party? Esquire Bob, call me. Who is in charge of your team? Who's your coach? Who's your general manager? Who's anybody? Hakeem Jeffries? Chuck Schumer? Hillary Clinton, she's back. Yeah. Oh, by the way, here's something for you. James Comey could be indicted here shortly. What did James Comey do, the honorable FBI director? Well, he leaked presidential memos through a friend to trigger a special counsel against Trump, ran Crossfire Hurricane approving FISA warrants riddled with 17 lies and omissions, relied on the discredited Steele dossier while hiding exculpatory evidence, was rebuked by the FISA court and exposed by the DOJ Inspector General for serious failures, and the Durham report found his FBI had no proper predication to spy on Trump's campaign. Indictments are not political revenge, they're accountability. I think that's pretty obvious as to what that is. Yeah. This part of the program brought to you by my good friends at PuroVet. PuroVet's part of PuroClean. PuroVet puts veterans to the front of the line to get a franchise. And PuroClean is the nation's leader when it comes to cleaning up after a tragedy, a flood, a fire, an earthquake, whatever it might be. If your house has been trashed, PuroClean is there to help you immediately. And PuroVet gives veterans a chance to get to the front of the line to own a franchise. Here in America, it's a great deal. Go to purovet.com, purovet.com, or call them 855-PuroVet. You can see it right there on the screen. Great program for veterans. Are you a veteran? Do you know one? Check this out. It really is worth it. We'll be right back. All right, it's the Trump administration against Amazon, but this dates back 2 or 3 years, right? Where in this case originated the 5 clicks it takes to unsubscribe from Amazon. My next guest says the Trump administration is wrong to pursue Biden's Federal Trade Commission case, again from 2023. James Cherniowski is the head of emerging tech policy at the Consumer Choice Center. James, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so explain the case to folks and, give me the 40-second overlay of the case so we understand what we're dealing with. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So this case, as you noted at the outset, was brought by the Biden administration. Lena Khan is certainly the radical there who wrote her entire law school paper on how to break up Amazon. So this is one of the cases that her FTC brought, trying to accuse Amazon of making it too difficult to cancel your Prime subscription. But again, as you noted, it only takes about 5 clicks to go and get that done. And basically, this is a case where, the FTC is going and charging after Amazon when it's, an American company, and just because it's a big tech company, because they've been certainly popular in the crosshairs of both Republicans and Democrats. So while the Trump administration has actually done a lot of things, I think, to go and defend American tech companies on the international stage, this is just an unfortunate, I think, misstep by the FTC to continue pursuing this case, because at the end of the day, it's really easy to go and cancel your Prime membership. And this service is actually going and providing a lot of benefits to consumers at the end of the day. So again,
I'm confused, James. I am confused. Why would you break up a company because it's hard to unsubscribe? I mean, I can see where it's an annoyance and you file a complaint and say, make this easier. You need to make this smoother. Okay. All right. Maybe that's your complaint and you call your congressman. Why would you break up the company over this?
Well, again, for Lena Khan, she just had an axe to grind against Amazon. And while this particular case isn't seeking to go and break up Amazon, it was certainly targeting them because they are big and because they are a tech company. So for Lena Khan, this is just part of her vendetta to go after them. And they're accusing the company because they had an internal team that was looking at pain points for consumers in that process of using Amazon services to improve it. They're actually going and trying to say, well, no, because you have this internal process, that somehow this is evidence that they're trying to, think through ways to keep consumers, subscribe to Amazon Prime, which is kind of the fundamental purpose of any business, is to figure out how to retain customers, right? So I think it sends the wrong message to companies when you're bringing lawsuits like this. And they're leveraging a statute known as the Restoring Online Shoppers Act, ROSCA, to get this done. Now, what that was tied to was about when you signed up for one of those services, if they shared your information with a third party, and then
everybody does that. James, let's be honest. If the service is free, you're the product. I mean, let's just be clear about that. If the service is offered for free, but you have to give them information, your information is the product. And this phone in my hand, this iPhone, routinely downloads my information. Actually, it does it thousands of times a day, usually at midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. Thousands of times a day it's distributing information. Wouldn't that be a much bigger concern than how hard it is to get off from Amazon?
I mean, in some respects, yes. And I think that we've seen a lot of, improvements in that space from a transparency perspective for consumers to be more aware of how those applications might be going and gathering information on consumers. When it comes to something like Prime, it's a lot more straightforward. You're giving them money. They're going and seeing your shopping history, what you're looking at within the Amazon store, and trying to connect you to value within their store by going and tailoring those things that it's having pop up for you, right? So again, I don't think that you want to be punishing a company for doing that. And frankly, it also infantilizes all the American consumers by assuming that they're incapable of figuring this out. And the reality is like you said, 5 clicks on the Amazon website to go and do that. And if for some reason that's too hard for you, a simple Google search could help you figure it out. I'm sure there are videos on YouTube that can help you figure out how to go and unsubscribe from Amazon. So to pretend that this is some kind of really, Herculean task to go and unsubscribe from Amazon, and that consumers are being deceived into being, subscribers into Amazon Prime, just seems like a farce.
Last time I checked, Amazon Prime saves me money. It's one of the few things I actually like about, such things. you know, if you're a member of Prime, you get to save some cheese, and in this economy, saving some money is good for most people, from what I could tell. James, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just like you're saving money through shopping on Amazon directly in and of itself. You're also gaining access to a bunch of other suite of products that they have too, whether that's Amazon Music or Amazon Prime Video, etc. Right? Audible, all these other products that are part of the Amazon suite are now available to consumers, and that's a net positive thing. And if you're going to sit there and again, target these companies for using these kinds of tactics to go and draw consumers in by offering them more goods and services that they like, yeah, that just doesn't seem to make sense. And again, while the Trump administration has actually been really good at defending American technology companies on the global stage, this particular lawsuit by the FTC just seems to run in the face of those efforts and undermine the administration's efforts to go and make American tech the global leaders that they currently are.
There you go. Get out of the way and let business work. That less restrictions, not more. That's always been my theory. James, greatly appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
There you have it. Free markets win. Adam Smith will tell you that, the Wealth of Nations. Is something holding your business back today? Do you have a business? You're trying to figure out how do you break through to the next level? What if in just one phone call you could find that bottleneck, have a clear custom plan and fix it? Steve Gruber, me, Grant Cardone, getting together. Want to give you exactly that, and we want to give it to you free. Get an expert insight, proven phone calls. Go to Gruber10x.com. Free phone call day, 3 to 5 things right now that can help your business break through. Is that of interest to you? Because if I could go back 25 years and learn what I learned here from this book, it's right on my desk every day for a reason, the 10X rule. Why? Changed everything. Gruber10x.com can change everything for you. It's free. You've got nothing to lose today except some money. You don't want to do that, do you? Gruber10x.com. Check it out. I'll be right back. All right. So I think I struck a nerve here with this conversation about, look, I'm tired of popping open social media every morning since the murder of Charlie Kirk and saying, oh, here's the new theory. Here's the new theory. Here, these people are involved. Nobody knows who's involved except for the person who's been arrested for the killing. And now I've got people saying, well, Lance Twiggs, he's the real killer. Really? How did this guy, Tyler Robinson, end up on camera then? On all those surveillance cameras. I mean, come on. Anthony, you think you don't like what you're seeing either, do you? You can tell me.
I'm skeptical.
In what way?
I think I think that there's more to it. I think
Well, you don't buy. You have the same hang up I do. That those text messages back and forth don't read right, do they? We've all looked at it going, that looks. Who writes in complete sentences like that, right?
Yeah. The text messages, I think how it all went down.
I mean, you know enough about hunting and rifles and so forth. You don't question the shot, do you? I don't question the shot at all. If for a 200-yard shot, look.
I don't question the shot at all.
No, that's not.
And I believe that it happened from that roof. My only question pertaining to the actual shot is, it was a pretty powerful rifle. So
it is.
The fact that I've also seen a lot of gun experts saying that there should have been an exit wound.
Oftentimes there would be. And you know that I hunted professionally around the world big game for 25 years.
Yep.
And I've seen everything happen, and the math is never the same. And I don't want to reduce this to a hunting question, but in a way mathematically it is, because I don't want to diminish Charlie Kirk's memory in any way at all. But the angle, the way the rifle is, the way the round is, everything is mathematically different. You never see a deer the same way twice. The angle's different, the speed's different, the weather's different, the wind is different, everything's different. So not having an exit wound to me, although not completely common, I've seen it happen. And anyhow, we're going to talk about this more tomorrow, I think, because everybody wants to weigh in on this. Is it conspiracy? What do you think? I don't know. Let's take it. We'll hear from you tomorrow, America, on Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Powered by Patriot Mobile. My friends at Patriot Mobile bring it to you every Friday. I'll be back after this. All right. As we've been talking about from the top of the program today, another violent attack that appears to be quite clearly left-wing violence, this time targeting an ICE facility, Dallas, Texas. 2 people killed, another in critical condition. None of them ICE officers. It seems that the shooter, who's been identified now as a 29-year-old leftist, was on a rooftop shooting indiscriminately down at a ICE van in a sally port at the ICE facility there in Dallas. Couldn't really see who was in the vehicle. Ended up killing 2 of the detainees and grievously wounding the 3rd. No ICE officers injured in the attack. Ammon Blair is here, senior fellow, Texas Public Policy Foundation, lives in Austin, Texas. Ammon, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So 3 people shot. The shooter's dead, apparently committing suicide. We see, and this was kind of odd. It was put out quickly by Kash Patel, an image of unspent shells with the word anti-ICE scribbled on one of them. What do you make of what we've learned so far?
Well, honestly, this is somewhat similar to what's actually happening in Eugene, Oregon right now. What many people don't know is for over 90 days, Antifa and far left organizations have been creating roadblocks around the detention facility or ICE facility there inside of Eugene. And on Tuesday night was the first time that many people were arrested for their actions. And I kind of want to highlight that it has taken over 90 days to actually make arrests against assaults on federal law enforcement. Mm-hmm.
Why? Why does it take so long? This seems pretty cut and dried. If Antifa members, which, by the way, you know, you've got people saying, I don't even know what Antifa is. Of course you do. Chuck Todd, for example, what a shameful individual who claimed to be a journalist at one time, who did specials on Antifa, who talked to people who wrote books about Antifa, and they say, well, we don't even know what that is. Yes, you do. But why would it take 90 days for this to happen?
You know, it's kind of sad. I mean, we saw this. We've been seeing this for a long time. You know, I was assaulted on the border, on the river, and this was under the first Trump administration. And it took the AUSA did not take the case, and so because of that, those that were part of the case actually leaked that case to Breitbart, Texas, and so this problem of not prosecuting assaults on whether you're Border Patrol or immigration enforcement officers or deportation officers has been going on for a long time. And
how
so
critical is it? I've got to jump in there because how critical is it? Whether it's Eugene, Oregon, or Dallas, Texas, or wherever it might be, law enforcement in general. When you refer to these people as the Gestapo, when you refer to these people as Nazis, white supremacists, whatever. When you label people as the worst people in history, right? And you compare them, first of all, they're not Nazis. They're not the Gestapo. They're people enforcing the law of people being in the country illegally. They're not rounding people up and taking them off to Auschwitz, all right? Let's just be clear about that. And to continue to dehumanize people is absolutely nuts, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. And if there's a lack of prosecutions against those that target law enforcement, then it justifies their cause. It makes it seem like the justice system is behind them, that elected officials are behind them. So it only further infuriates those that are actually willing to do those actions, whether you're in Eugene, Oregon, whether you're in Dallas. Like this is the 3rd attack in Texas. One of the attacks was in the area that I live in McAllen. And so this is going to continue to escalate. I know that J.D. Vance has called for a stop. Many people have called for a stop on the rhetoric. However, that's like asking a killer whale to stop eating sea lions. Look, they want this to happen. That's why they're continually inciting this violence until there's actual prosecutions for.
What is the end result, though? You say they want this to happen, and by their very actions, that appears to be exactly accurate. But to what end? I mean, because here's the crackdown in Eugene. Here's the crackdown. Look, in the wake of the murder of Charlie Kirk and the attack on an ICE facility and people being murdered, a guy shoots up an ABC television station. And I can go right on down the list. You know, Donald Trump being targeted for assassination not once but twice. One of his attempted assassins, the one that lived, sentenced to, I think, life in prison as of yesterday or the day before. It's one example after another, and it's got to stop, because to what end? They want it to happen, but for what reason? They're not going to win. because the American people, the sentiment has moved dramatically against these violent people. Nobody wants these people in their neighborhood. Nobody. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so to be honest, there's actually a complete plan in place. They actually have a think tank, just like I work at a think tank, the Texas Public Policy Foundation. Antifa and those that are on the offensive arm or the tactical arm actually have a think tank. It's called Crime Think. They actually have a 7-step plan on how to stop ICE. At the end of the day, the whole goal is to not just abolish ICE, but abolish the whole idea and concept of a sovereign nation, and that starts at citizenry. That is why the whole concept of immigration enforcement, deporting illegal aliens, is a direct assault on their whole idea and concept of not just open borders, but the whole idea and concept of actually citizenship. And so those that are protecting citizenship, those that are on the front lines, ICE, they represent more than just law enforcement. They don't just represent those that are protecting your communities from the weaponized mass migration. They actually represent the protection of our Constitution and citizenship in its entirety. And that's why they have targeted ICE officers, and they're going to continue to target ICE officers. All of this can actually be read on their think tank. If you just go to Crime Think, it's still up. Even though that President Trump has declared them as domestic terrorist organizations, that website is still up. And in fact, they just released a document showing all of Antifa throughout the United States how to conduct themselves based off of this terrorist designation. So they are 100% organized. They are decentralized. They are organized just like satellite cells of whether that's ISIS or satellite cells of Mexican cartels inside the United States.
Yeah. We need to be more proactive. Look, I'm seeing a lot of people still line up to get the jobs with ICE. They've had a big push of people applying for jobs, so there's still opportunity there. And I hope that we can get to where we need to be. And I hope that we can get this violence ratcheted down. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not terribly hopeful at the moment. I'll give you 20 seconds for the last word.
Yeah, you talked about ICE and ICE hirings. To be honest, the best way possible to move forward is for local law enforcement and for state law enforcement to sign on with the 287G program, work directly with Tom Homan and ICE, and build the ICE's capacity and capability to handle this situation. That is going to be the best option forward.
Emmon Blair, greatly appreciate you being here, sir. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. Here's a headline for you. It's going to shock you, or maybe it won't. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I'm going to read you the headline. It's disgusting, but does it shock you? I don't know. 26% of young voters say America is better off following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Better off. I mean, what a ghoulish mindset. I mean, how wicked do you have to be? How dark does your soul have to be to applaud the execution of a man who was just telling you his point of view? Richard Harris is the executive director of Truth and Liberty. You can find him at truthandliberty.net. Also the host of the Truth and Liberty Show and the founder of the Richard Harris Ministries. Richard, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be with you.
How wicked, and that's the word that comes to mind for me, how wicked does one have to be to celebrate the assassination of a guy, a 31-year-old father of two, who's just having a conversation, laying out his point of view?
This is the same mindset, Steve, that drove the murder of 100 million people in the 20th century by the communist left. There's no difference. It's the same thing. Silence those that you disagree with. Silence your political enemies. If you can't do it with, peaceful means, then you do it with violence. And that is where we've come. Because the left doesn't have the arguments. They don't have the reasoning or the moral principles to support what they want to do. So they are left with no alternative. And that's what we're dealing with here. It is wicked. It is evil. And we as a nation have got to confront this head on.
Here's the thing. Here's what's remarkable to me, Richard. Those on the left will sit there and scream fascist at people like me or you.
Yep.
The pinnacle of fascism is murdering somebody for what they say. That is the absolute pinnacle of fascism and the ultimate irony for these people. They don't even, but they're so uneducated, they don't even understand. Most of these people can't even spell fascism, let alone understand it.
Yeah. Right. They just throw it out. It basically to them means anybody who wants to have any rules that apply to them. So, they don't know what they're talking about. Of course, fascists, you're exactly right. They're the ones that silence speech. They're the ones that kill their opponents. So it's insane. It's topsy-turvy.
Yeah. And at one point I heard one of them call Donald Trump a communist fascist. I'm sorry, you're really uneducated if you call somebody a communist fascist. I mean, how far lost are you if you think... anyhow, people are so ignorant. And that's the word. They're just ignorant, Richard. They have no idea. And it's our own fault. We have allowed the public schools and the public universities in this country to totally stop teaching things like the Great Leap Forward. You're talking about the 100 million people killed by communism and fascism, I suppose, in the 20th century. They don't even know what the Great Leap Forward is. It killed maybe as many as 50 million Chinese. They think, oh, China's a great place, and they've got this great, society, and maybe they do, but the Great Leap Forward cost 50 million Chinese their lives. Chairman Mao is a monster, not a hero. We need to teach the truth in our classrooms, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. You see, the left, they view the schools as a tool for indoctrination into leftism. They have for 100 years now. We're just sort of beginning maybe to wake up to this fact. But yeah, our kids have been indoctrinated now for decades and generations. And so it's like, in a sense, we shouldn't be surprised that we are where we are, because this is the natural result of this way of thinking. If there is no God, then there is no truth. And if there is no truth, there's no accountability. I get to say what's right. And whoever doesn't agree with me, I get to eliminate them if necessary. And that's where we are. So yeah, we've got to take back our schools. We've got to take back our country. And it's time for Christians
and the
church to wake up to this reality.
How do we do it? I live in a place where Christians are being targeted. White Christian men. You are the problem. I am the problem. I'm not a Nazi. I'm a neighbor. I'm not a fascist. I'm a father. I'm not a white supremacist. I am an American. This is something I've been repeating for the last few days because it's true. Stop calling me a Nazi. Stop calling me a fascist. Stop calling me a Christian nationalist. I don't even know what that is, except I am a Christian and I believe in America. So I guess if that makes me a Christian nationalist, sign me up. It doesn't make me some sort of a bad individual. Does it?
Right. Oh, of course not. No, of course, we used to call it Christian patriotism, and it was part and parcel of who we were as a country for 200 years. It's only recently they switched it to nationalists to try to tie us to Nazis. It's all a smear campaign and it's a lie, and we just need to not listen to that stuff and stand up and get involved. We need to be going to our school board meetings. We need to be going to our city council town halls. Christians need to be running for office. We've got to volunteer. We've got to donate. Believers need to open their wallets and give to good conservative Christian candidates. I'm optimistic, actually, Steve. I think the memorial for Charlie Kirk was incredibly encouraging, and I think that we are on the winning side. But we have got to persevere. We can't go to sleep. It's a 24/7 battle. All hands on deck.
Yeah, it absolutely, it's true. By the way, brand new article I direct people's attention to just popped from justthenews.com. My good friend John Solomon there. Antifa's origin story traced to communist Stalinist group that aided the Nazis' rise to power. You see, what they're telling us is completely false. John just nailed it here. I recommend people read this article that just came out literally in the last 15 seconds. I give you the last word, Richard.
Well, that's an interesting article. I haven't seen it yet, but we've allowed the Antifa to masquerade as so-called anarchist group. That's what the press always label them. Well, that's a lie. Anybody who knew what they stood for knew that was a lie. They're leftists. They're communists. They want to topple our society. They want to turn it upside down, turn it into a Marxist state, one world government. That's what they want. Let's get real about this thing and begin to deal with it as a country and as a government. I just want to thank God that Donald Trump is in office and has the will to do something about this, but we've got to get behind him and take our country back.
Exactly right. Otherwise, last question. We only got 10 seconds. It's a yes or no question. Are we already in a civil war?
Brother, I was asking that myself last night. I believe bullets have been flying, but we still have time to save this thing, and so I'm praying for peace. Absolutely.
Richard Harris, truthandliberty.net, truthandliberty.net. You can find him there. Richard, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. The Tigers in free fall. Can't win a baseball game. Brock will tell you about it after the break.
they wouldn't show the.
All right, time to check in on sports now with Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. Cal Raleigh hit home runs 59 and 60, and he led the Seattle Mariners to an easy 9-2 victory over the Colorado Rockies last night in Seattle. With the win, the Mariners clinched the American League West title, their first since 2001. Raleigh is 2 homers away from tying the American League record for homers in a season. That's held by New York Yankees slugger Aaron Judge, who set that record 3 years ago. Oh, by the way, Judge hit homers 50 and 51 in the Yankees' 8-1 victory over the Chicago White Sox last night, the 4th time he has hit 50 homers in a season. And the Cleveland Guardians have come all the way back after being 15 and a half games behind the Detroit Tigers in the American League Central in early July. Their 5-1 victory over the Tigers last night in Cleveland gave them the outright lead in the division. With 4 games left, the Guardians' magic number to win the AL Central is 3. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
Something smells here. It's the Tigers. Oh, boy.
Yeah, they smell bad right now.
Yeah. All right. Here's a headline. Newaygo, Michigan. A Facebook post cost a brewery its customers. Nick Luman, brewmaster, co-owner of Newaygo Brewing Company, took to Facebook September 21st, the same day as Charlie Kirk's memorial, and called the slain conservative activist evil and a stooge. Within hours, the boycott was in full swing. By the 22nd, the brewery announced Luman's suspension without pay, distancing itself from comments the staff said caused hurt and do not reflect the values of our company. Luman later apologized, but not before the fallout was out of control. Co-owner Krista Veal said the company had to act fast, protect its 20-plus employees and reputation. We can have different opinions and challenge each other, but it doesn't have to be so cutthroat and just mean. That's not cutthroat. That's disgusting. Anyhow. Just looking at this article. Okay, I got a lot coming up. Wallet Hub. Fast food eats up Detroit paychecks. In Vegas, coffee is $14. Can you imagine? Vegas used to be cheap. We're going to talk to Ivy about that and so much more coming up. All right, we'll take a break and be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Glad to have you on board here as we roll into another brand new hour of the Steve Gruber Show. You all right, Anthony? Anthony always yells when I don't have my mic open. Sometimes I forget to reopen the mic. He gets all fired up.
I got to scream.
Yeah. Anyhow, welcome back to the next hour of the Steve Gruber Show. Glad to have you here. Three big things you need to know right now. Number one, the mayor of Dearborn, Abdullah Hamoud, basically says he doesn't care that he told a Christian resident he's not allowed in the city. He says it's an Arabic city. Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that coming up. Number two, illegal aliens generally not eligible for food stamps in Michigan. Well, there's 32,000 or more collecting food stamps today in your state illegally, taking money and food out of the mouths of Michigan residents. And number three, this is kind of a big story. I'm going to work through all that. But I think this is an important story. It comes for grandparents. Grandparents now have a stake in custody battles. I think that's a very big deal. Yeah, because previously, generally, just parents have a stake in this. But Michigan law has grandparenting time, Rule MCL 722.27b, and lets grandparents ask the court for visitation when their grandchildren are in certain situations. The law explains how grandparents can file affidavits, request hearings, and present evidence in court. Now, under Michigan law, grandparents can ask for visitation under specific circumstances. It includes when the child's parents are divorcing or already divorced, legally separated, or their marriage has been annulled. All right? Grandparents may also petition if one of the child's parents has died, if the parents were never married and live apart but paternity has been legally established, or if the child is living with someone other than a parent. In addition, if a grandparent has provided a stable home environment for the child during the year before filing, they may seek visitation. Importantly, the law does give strong deference to the decisions of fit parents. Courts presume that a parent's choice to deny visitation does not harm the child unless the grandparent can prove otherwise. Furthermore, adoption usually ends a grandparent's right to seek visitation if it terminates the parental rights of the grandparent's child, unless it's a step-parent adoption involving a deceased parent's child, so on and so forth. This is interesting. Because it weighs into cases where grandparents are denied access because of bitterness and divorce and so forth. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes because the grandparents are people the parent doesn't think the children should be around. Okay, that's a parent's prerogative. I get that. Big conversation, though. Here's an example. Amber Schmoss and Blake Michael Mack had a daughter, LM, in 2014. They never married. After Amber was incarcerated in 2017, Mack was awarded sole custody of the child, and Amber later passed away in 2020. Mack went on to have two more children with another partner, and the family lived together until Mack and Lyons, his new partner, split in 2022. The Schmauses filed for visitation rights in 2023, alleging that DNA results proved that Mack was not LM's biological father, that Lyons had been LM's primary caregiver, and Mack's behavior and household conditions were unsafe. LM had told her grandparents that her father was drunk all the time, her bedroom didn't have enough heat, and he had told her that her grandparents didn't love her anymore. Spouses also told the court that Child Protective Services was investigating Mack regarding allegations that he was intoxicated while the children were in his care, and that he allowed his ex-stepfather to reside in the home, even though he had an extensive criminal history of domestic violence. And the list goes on. The spouses also alleged that Mack pleaded guilty to domestic violence in 2013, 2015, and a later incident involving his now ex-partner. Mack denied most of the allegations, stating the spouses had little involvement in LM's life and that the CPS complaint against him was unsubstantiated. The dispute escalated after the spouses' motions for visitation were repeatedly dismissed over procedural issues and because they failed to overcome the legal presumption and a parent's decision to deny visitation. But here's what has been recently decided. According to the Legal News website, on September 10th, the Michigan Court of Appeals disagreed in a published opinion written by Judge Christina Robinson Garrett, joined by Judges Thomas Cameron and Philip Mariani. The court refers to the lower court's decision. The statute clearly allows grandparents who submit affidavits a chance to testify at a minimum. That means that when a grandparent requests visitation and provides the required affidavits, a hearing must be held. Opportunity to be heard as used in the statute necessarily includes presenting evidence. The lower court erred in concluding the Schmauzes were not entitled to an evidentiary hearing and that they had not established enough to warrant one. The court opinion also explained that challenging the role of grandparents in modern family structure when they said changes in the composition of American families over the last 125 years have resulted in many states enacting visitation statutes to protect the relationships that children form with non-parent caregivers. Supporting the enactment of non-parent visitation statutes is the notion that children should have the opportunity to benefit from relationships with statutorily specified persons, for example, their grandparents. You know what's sad about all of this? As I read all of that, what's sad about it is that the family's been destroyed in America. Restoring the American family has to be one of the principles, one of the priorities going forward from this day. We must establish the American family. Again, we have to stop monetizing single parenthood. We have to have policies that encourage family dynamics. The nuclear family is a good thing. It's one of the things that Charlie Kirk said that I really, I knew Charlie for, some period of time, met him a number of times, spent some time with him. He's met my family and so forth. But one of the things that I didn't listen to him as much as I should have, maybe. Very smart, very gifted, but I've listened to him more recently. One of the things he said, fall in love, get married, have more kids than you can afford, and create the American family. It's the greatest thing you can ever have. And I agree with that. My nuclear family here is the best thing in my life. It's the best thing in my life. Other than a relationship with God, of course, but all those things kind of run together. They run parallel. They run together. They're all intertwined. Faith, family, freedom. Those things are all intertwined. We have got to reestablish the American family. We have got to reestablish that truth, that the family is the center of civilized society. Now, I don't know about the relationship of these recent killers, the one yesterday or the one that murdered Charlie Kirk. But I can guess that there were weak father figures in those homes, if there was a father figure at all. America needs more dads, more real men, more strong men standing up, looking out for their children, looking out for their families. That's a fact. America needs more real men, strong men. It's not toxic masculinity. It's called being a man, providing for your family, working hard, telling the truth, all of that. Yeah, I got a lot more to talk about today. We'll take a break. I'll be right back. Find out more at SteveGruber.com. All right, so I'm going to tell you a story here, all right? I'm going to tell you part of the story. My next guest is going to tell you the rest of the story, if you will. And it's a kind of a tough story to hear. Because this Saturday, a DeWitt, Michigan couple, Jonah and Megan Berger, are walking to end the rare incurable disease that both Jonah and their young daughter live with every day. And I don't want to mispronounce it, and I will mischaracterize it, so I'm going to bring Jonah in. He lives in DeWitt, Michigan. Jonah, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Really appreciate you being here. This is a story that I think is very important and worth telling because you have a rare disease that's debilitating. Your daughter has it because it's genetic, right? It can be passed on. What is the disease called?
I appreciate you deferring to me because 98% of the people usually mess it up. So it's pronounced Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. The three doctors who first discovered what we have were Dr. Charcot, Dr. Marie, and Dr. Tooth.
All right. And so often referred to as CMTA is the Charcot-Marie-Tooth Association, right?
Correct.
But CMT, a rare progressive neuromuscular disease that affects 135,000 people in a nation of 325 million. All right, so there's about 4,000 across Michigan. A few dozen maybe in the greater Lansing area where you live. So not a lot of people to talk about this problem, is there?
No, that's for sure. But, you know, when those numbers get boiled down, it's 1 in 2,500 people, which makes it the most common peripheral neuropathy, which means from our elbows to our fingertips and our knees to our toes. Those are the only parts of our body that are affected. But it is the most common peripheral neuropathy in the world. But we always joke it's the most common one that no one's ever heard of before. So a lot of people have it, but not many people know about it.
So it affects you from your elbows to your fingertips, your knees to your toes. Explain what symptoms. Give me an idea.
You bet. So it's a problem with our nerves. Our nerves are coated in what's called myelin sheath, and the myelin sheath is too thin or not functioning correctly in the periphery of the bodies of the patients of people with CMT. So
you all right?
Yeah, it just disappeared.
No, we're still here. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Carry on.
I lost it from my screen. Sorry
That's
about
all right.
that.
So the myelin sheath, you're just fine. It's kind of like the message between your elbow and your fingers. It got lost somewhere. It happens, right?
It gets distorted. The messages don't get there as clearly, and they don't get there fast enough. So over time, the muscles in those parts in our body get weaker and weaker. And so the main issues with us are hands and feet. So our hands, trouble with fine motor, buttoning a shirt, picking up a coin off the ground, snapping, pinching. With our feet, it's drop foot. So our feet hang down. It's hard for us to pick up our own feet, which is why I and a lot of people with CMT end up wearing leg braces, which keep your feet in a 90-degree angle so you're not tripping when you walk.
Interesting. So, okay, how old are you?
I am 53 years old.
You look good, by the way, if you're 53.
Thank you. Well, I have 2 little ones, and I'm expecting my 3rd in February, so that might be why I'm rallying physically.
Attaboy. All right, so your one daughter, how old is she?
She's 6 years old.
And how do you determine that you have CMT? I mean, how do you come to that conclusion? Obviously, you probably had a lot of questions, probably had some misdiagnosis, would be my guess, the way the world works.
Yeah.
How do you figure it out?
It's a very good guess. My mother actually was the first one in our family tree to be diagnosed, and it was right before I was born. She was 23, and they always called her clumsy. That was just her title. And then she tripped one day, and she said, I was absolutely certain that there was no reason I should have tripped. And so she went to the doctor, ended up at NIH, and was the first diagnosed. And then they were able to go back up the tree and diagnosed some older relatives, and then by the time I was born, they knew to test. But now we've done genetic testing to know what subtype we have, which is 1X, meaning it's on our X chromosome in my family line. And so for women, they have 2 X's, so it's a 50-50 chance with each child they have that they'll get it. With men like myself, it's on our X, so any daughter I have will have it. Any son I have, I'll have given my Y, and he will not have it. So I have one of each right now, and we knew as soon as they were born if they had CMT or not.
So she was automatic. I mean, that's just the way it was. Does it impact longevity? Does it impact your lifespan? Again, 53, you look great.
No, not at all. It impacts our ability to go through the world in a smooth and flowing way. But the kids that I work with, I'm the youth director for the CMT Association, the National Youth Programs Manager, and the kids call themselves the Tribe of the Funky Feet. So they've owned it and made it a positive thing. And
Yeah.
I own it too. I think that's a perfect way to put it. We can do anything anyone else can do. We just have to figure out our own way to do it.
You just got to find your own path. And that's true of life in general, isn't it? So, all right. Are there related diseases? Because there's other diseases where the myelin gets thin, right?
That
Other
is
diseases.
absolutely true. There are not. The CMT stands alone, but what's fascinating about CMT is that they know now what causes CMT, and they are hot on the trail of treatments for CMT to the degree that the world's leading researcher, who's kind of spearheading the team towards a cure, looked me in the eye about 6 or 7 years ago and said, "I'm going to cure this thing in your lifetime. We are going to cure
Wouldn't
this
that be
thing."
nice? Wouldn't that
Yes,
be
it
nice?
certainly would. It
Jonah, I
certainly
give you a
would.
lot of I give you a lot of credit. The Tribe of the Funky Feet. I mean, you have a very good disposition. People would be bitter. Some probably are, but you're not, and I appreciate that. And you're having more children. And you said, just take the path, God willing, and God just take the wheel, I guess they say. So this is coming
Amen.
up Saturday, the 27th of September, 10 a.m., DeWitt, Michigan. It's Hawk Island Park. Beautiful park, by the way, if you've never been there. Hawk Island Park at the Kestrel Shelter. You can come, you can join, you can see what this is all about. And you, too, can be an honorary member of the Tribe of the Funky Feet. I think it's the way that works. Jonah, great story.
Amen.
Thank you for being here. You're an inspiration. I mean that.
I appreciate that, Steve, and thanks for having me on.
Really appreciate it. Everybody's got their challenges, right? Everybody's got something. And everybody approaches it differently. If you approach it with some humility, some faith, and some good humor, man, maybe it can just be better. Good for Jonah. Jonah Berger, everybody. I'll be right back. I thought he was an inspiration, folks. I did. Jonah Berger, what a great guy. 50. I think it's a bit insane. You're 53, still having kids, because I had one when I was 48, maybe, when the last one showed up, and I thought that was great. But I give him credit. Kids will keep you young. And again, the event for the Charcot-Marie Tooth disease is Saturday, September the 27th. That's this Saturday. Hawk Island Park. That's on Kavanaugh Road, Lansing, Michigan. I consider it Grand Ledge, but you can call it whatever you want. Anyhow, go meet these folks.
You consider it Grand Ledge?
Isn't that Grand Ledge, Hawk Island Park?
No, that's like the south side.
The city of Lansing.
Oh.
You almost couldn't be more middle of Lansing.
Easy.
Well,
I don't get out of the cave. All right, Hawk Island Park is. Oh, I know where Hawk Island is. Yeah, that's where the.
They got the big lake, the
yeah,
river
yeah,
trail.
yeah. The water feature, the water park or whatever.
By the
splash
cemetery.
pad. Yeah. You're right. I'm wrong. See, I can say it. I was wrong. I liked Anthony. See how that worked?
Yep.
You said
yeah.
You said that past tense.
What exactly?
I'm gonna clip that.
You clip this. All right, so this part of the program brought to you by, let's see here, Great Lakes Pet Food. It's America's best pet food. I know because my dogs live long and sturdy lives with Great Lakes Pet Food. It's real pork, real turkey, real chicken, and it's made here in Michigan. Ivy and I went looking for a pet food company a number of years ago that was made in America. We found one even better, made in West Michigan. GreatLakesPetFood.com. Dog food that can't be beat. They'll ship it right to your step. GreatLakesPetFood.com. They ship it right to my house, don't they, Anthony? Yes, they do. Usually on pallets. At any rate, great partners. Coming up, let's see who we got, Anthony. We've got
another great partner, Ryan Duffy.
Ryan Duffy from Enbridge will be here because the Michigan Supreme Court's getting involved with Line 5 and the tunnel replacement project again. Why are they doing that? Well, Ryan Duffy from Enbridge will explain right after this. All right, back to it now as we jump back in the conversation. Line 5 and the replacement tunnel have been in the headlines for years now, literally. Enbridge bought Line 5, I don't know, decades ago. It runs energy along the bottom of the Straits of Mackinac, propane, oil, things like that, right? And so several years ago, Enbridge, a giant Canadian energy company, came out and said, look, we'll build a tunnel under the Straits of Mackinac by 100 feet, so you'll never have to worry about it. Never had a problem with this pipe. But we understand your concern. We'll build it, $500 million, and then we'll give it to Michigan, and you guys can control it, and you can use it for anything you want because it'll be a lot bigger than just moving propane and oil. You can put communications lines, fiber optics, whatever you want. Well, now the Supreme Court in Michigan decided to hear a case on the Enbridge Tunnel project permits. There's always something that pops up. Ryan Duffy, a member of the Enbridge Communications team with me. Ryan, never an easy day, is it?
No. Good morning, Steve. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Just had some good news get through. The Army Corps of Engineers kind of getting through that process, and because they've everything, every step of the way, including Governor Whitmer and Attorney General Nessel trying to stop this project. I don't know why. It seems short-sighted to me because this is an opportunity to have a better situation with less risk and a lot of benefit to Michigan, and yet here we are. So what's the Supreme Court going to decide in this matter?
Right, so that's what's popped up here most recently, and it goes back to the approval we received from the Michigan Public Service Commission, the MPSC, for the project. It made that approval decision in 2023, and actually the Michigan Court of Appeals affirmed that that was the right decision. So now a couple of groups have asked the Supreme Court to look at it, and so that's what's going to be happening here. So from our perspective, we're confident in the MPSC's thorough process that it took over the last few years. It took more than 3 years in total, actually, carefully reviewing the project. And we agree with that February decision from the Court of Appeals that affirmed the work the MPSC did. So the Court of Appeals said that more or less the MPSC appropriately looked at where that location of Line 5 is going to be, that replacement segment inside the tunnel, and that the approval was consistent with Michigan law. So we definitely agree for that. And for us now here and our tunnel team, you know, they're hard at work each and every day, moving this project forward, focused on the work they need to do. And that is going to be the tunnel project, which moves the tunnel deep under the lake bed at the Straits, makes what always has been a very safe pipeline that much safer, and it makes sure people have all the access to the energy they need. And the project's going to support jobs and the economy.
Yeah, and in fact, you're talking about hiring only Michigan people, right? You want to hire as many Michigan people, now not exclusively, but to the best of your ability, hire people here in Michigan. I mean, and these are going to be really fabulous paying jobs, right? These are good jobs, good paycheck to be getting, right?
Absolutely. We're committed to using Michigan labor. It's going to be more than 2 million labor hours. And so, of course, that's a boost to the economy up there in that area. The restaurants, the hotels, the businesses there, all of those things. And we have a lot of great support in the community there because they can see what this project is going to bring.
Let me ask you this. What's the time frame here? You get involved because these court cases, as you know, it's a process. You'd think, well, you file it, they'll take them a couple of weeks. They can figure this right out, but they don't. Several months will pass. It could be a year from now. And this thing, when it goes to the Supreme Court, it could be there for who knows how long, right? That's got to be a concern for Enbridge.
Well, definitely a concern. I mean, this has been a lengthy process. I've been talking to you about it here for the last 5 years at least.
Yeah, a long time.
We signed the tunnel agreement back in 2018. And so we filed for all these permits in 2020, actually. And so it's definitely been lengthy for us here. And, you know, we're down to the two final permits, the Army Corps, of course, you mentioned. Then there's Eagle, the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy. And as we've talked about, we did receive that Eagle permit in 2021, but the process with the Army Corps has drawn on to where now that Eagle permit would expire in the early part of next year. So that's right around the time we would likely need it and when we would try to break ground. So we need to renew that permit. That's looking at potential impacts in the construction areas up there at the Straits. And we know it's important to minimize those. That's the whole design of the project, was to have the smallest environmental impact possible, and the smallest footprint possible.
And I didn't mean to laugh, but it's the absurdity of it at some point. You know, it just gets, me personally, I don't have a great amount of patience, generally speaking. This would drive me wild. I mean, this would just drive me absolutely wild. All right, so you mentioned breaking ground. with all of these things still moving so slowly and uncertain, I mean, you'd like to break ground next year. We've talked about that for the last couple of years. You kind of thought maybe 2026 you could do that, but if you don't have what you need here, or a permit expires or you have to start a process again, you're just still up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, it continues to be the case that permitting really is driving the timeline. The Army Corps has said, though, they're looking to have a final environmental impact statement out at the end of this year and make a decision toward the end of this year. And so if that's the case, then we would look to early part of next year, hopefully be breaking ground up there at the Straits. And then, of course, from there, construction could start, but that's going to be a process in itself. I mean,
Well,
that would
yeah.
likely take 4 to 5 years.
Well, here's my comment on that. You've gotten no peace any step of the way. I don't think you're going to get peace once you break ground either. I think that the people that are opposed to you, that are opposed to energy, frankly, that are opposed to energy projects in general, are going to continue to try to put roadblocks in front of you even after you start the tunnel project. Do you think I'm wrong?
Well, I think you're right. We continue to see, a small group, a small minority that I think opposed Line 5 to begin with. So, of course, they're likely to oppose any reasonable solution or safety improvement or anything having to do with Line 5. But again, that's a small minority. We're seeing a lot of support. More than 70% of people support the project. We're seeing a ton of support in these public comment periods we've had for the permitting, just comments coming in from all different groups all across the state. So generally, by and large, we do have a large amount of support for the project.
Yeah, and even though every project like this is unique, it's not like it's the only tunnel project going on in the country, right? We've only got about 30 seconds here, but, it's not like it's never been done before, right?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, we know there's 30 major tunnel projects happening right now in the country, totaling about $50 billion.
Huh.
Huge tunnels going under cities, through mountains, underwater for traffic, highways in there, all of those things. So there are great companies that do it using the tunnel boring machine technology that we're going to use. So it's proven technology. It works, and that's what we're going to bring to our project at the Straits.
Well, Ryan, I'm sure we will talk again as we creep through this process. We're going to get there, you and I, at some point together. I wish you well. We'll talk again soon. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thanks, Steve.
There you have it. Ryan Duffy, everybody from Enbridge. Man, they just a roadblock at every turn. Every time they slow them down. Look, I'm familiar with court processes. It's going to be a while. Supreme Court tends to move a little bit slower than the others. We'll see what happens. Around the corner, it's Ivy time. I'll be right back. I'm not on the air. What do you care? Huh? Huh? You want to start something? Huh? You want to start something over there? Huh? 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 Bam, 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 bam. See? All right, it's Ivy time. God bless America. I've had enough coffee today. Maybe not. You know, it's between Ivy and Anthony slams into other vehicles, creating great car crashes. And drama.
You know what will happen, Steve, if you quit drinking coffee?
I'll fall asleep on the show.
No.
I'll have a headache.
Probably.
I'll be more moody than normal.
Oh, gosh.
Well, which is it?
I'm gonna move topics. I'm gonna move on.
Ding, we have a winner. It's called coffee.
Yes.
All right, good.
I like
What's up,
coffee
Ivy?
too. You know, the things I find online, as I always say, do not shock me anymore. But sometimes I wonder.
Are you appalled?
Were we always this deranged?
And
you know,
stupid?
and
Deranged.
just
All right,
people,
deranged.
do just the oddest things.
They do the
Like
oddest
a teacher was arrested for using poop spray in the school. And
wait
it
a
cost
second.
the campus
Wait a
more
second.
than $50,000 to repair.
Wait a second. There's a product that's what's poop spray?
I don't actually know what it's made up of, but it
It's like
mimics the smell of poo, of feces. And this guy, 32 years old, Alexander Lewis, sprayed it multiple times between August 25th and September 19th, causing significant disruptions. It's like he didn't feel like working today. Oh man, what does that smell? We get to go home, all right.
We get to go home.
The odor reportedly triggered health issues among students and staff, including headaches, nausea, and dizziness, I'd imagine, and resulted in nearly $55,000, which and air conditioning repair costs, because you can imagine if it gets into the air duct system.
But who manufactures such a product?
You should go on Amazon and see. Should you look it up?
Get a can or
poo
two?
Spray.
You want some here at home?
You
Or?
can buy anything online, I swear. Crazy.
That's bizarre.
I've
All
seen
right.
some pretty crazy pranks with this spray.
Wait,
Oh, really?
You're aware of this?
Oh yeah, there's a whole thing. There's like these people who go in with these like massive fake turds into like a grocery store or something, and then they put it in there
gosh.
and they spray the spray on it, and then they go get an employee and be like, "Dude, I came to use the bathroom and I found this."
What the heck is wrong with people?
What was that company? It was called Spencer's Gifts, right? In Lansing when I grew up. And you could buy rubber turds. You could do that and just say the floor. But you didn't get the bonus spray to go with it. What you know, this is where the show has gone completely off the rails.
Well, you know, Amazon just recalled 500,000 products on its website. You wonder if poop spray is one of those. Probably not the best thing to sell.
You know, good Lord. I mean, around this house, we don't need any extra, all right?
Oh my gosh.
Say that.
You know, I'm all good for a funny prank, but
Well, now
you know,
I'm thinking about how
one
I
time
can
I
use
like
this.
tie, you know, you have the spray nozzle on the side of the sink. One time I put like a hair tie on the spray nozzle, and you came into the kitchen and turned on the water, and it sprayed you.
Sprayed me right in
you
the
were so
face.
confused, you did it again. I was like, "This is the best day ever."
That did happen. I'm like, how did that happen? I take it again. Shake it again. Then I hear Ivy laughing uncontrollably. Yeah, she got me. Try that at home, Anthony. Just put a little hair tie on the freaking
The
sprayer.
little clear rubber band is better, so they can't see it.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Did you also see that story of the two Colorado hunters that
Yeah, that's a
their
freaky
family
story.
reported them as missing, and then they were found after search and rescue went through, but they were hit by lightning.
Bam. That's what they think. They had minor burns on their bodies, and they both laid like they're in their 20s, right?
That's crazy.
It is. I've been in
It's
places
like
that.
one in 100 million or whatever. But I know you have some adventure stories.
I was in
that-
a crazy storm in New Mexico, elk hunting up on a hill, a small mountainside one day, and we had lightning coming in. It didn't hit from me to you. It didn't hit 10 feet from me, and it was bright yellow. It was the craziest thing. And boom, boy, is it loud. And everybody around me is like hitting the ground when it's going like, dude, keep moving. And then we got a massive hailstorm, and then my 300-pound buddy got tossed out of the saddle of the horse because I'm like, I'm not riding a horse when the hail is literally 6, 7 inches deep, running down the mountainside in the trails where the horses come up. Oh, I'll just ride the horse down, you idiot. And he got tossed, of course.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it was an adventurous thing, yeah. But lightning being real close. It's really loud, by the way. It's very exciting. I'll tell you that. Probably was exciting for those kids for a split second. Sad story.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. Just, always being aware in the outdoors. You never know what can happen for sure.
Yeah.
And talking about, here's another one. American Airlines passenger duct taped to the seat for attacking a flight attendant. She was duct taped, and they used zip ties to keep
further
her,
restrain her, yeah.
Yeah, further restrain her. But I just people, what's going on?
Well, the people on the
just
planes are
going
crazy. I mean, how many stories we heard just the last few months about people trying to open the exit door while they're flying? A couple of those. I mean, what? Yeah, no. I see some dude messing with the exit door. They're getting punched.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it right out there. They're getting punched hard.
Right.
This old man can still throw a pretty good punch. I'll tell you that. I can't tolerate that. By the way, Sarah says if we get fart spray, she's not coming to the office anymore. I just got a note from her.
We don't really need that. We have Anthony.
Whoa.
I love
Wait,
Anthony.
what'd she mean by that?
I don't do that no more.
You don't do it any less either.
Well.
Anyhow, I saw one other story over here, Ivy. People complaining about the price of Vegas. We were just there. It just struck me as
Oh my
interesting.
gosh, yeah.
People saying that they went to some place. The coffee was $14 for one cup of coffee.
Whoa.
And they paid $25 for one drink at Hell's Kitchen. We went to Hell's Kitchen. It was really good, but it was really expensive.
It was really expensive.
Yeah.
And I think, and really, and a lot of nice restaurants these days, their specialty drinks range from $15 to $25.
It's crazy.
I mean, geez.
Yeah.
So, you know what it tells me? Just eat at home more.
Yeah, we do
Make your
that.
own cocktails if
Well,
that's what you want to do.
Where were we? He said, hey, let's get the sea bass. I'm like, why? Why would I get sea bass, Ivy? The best sea bass I've ever had in my life has been in this house every time you've ever cooked it. I mean, that's fact.
Thank you.
I mean, and you know it's true. And your tomahawk, whew, is that hard to beat?
Ooh, that sounds good.
It does sound good. Anyhow, love you.
I love you too, Steve.
All right. We'll be back after this. Ivy Watch is over for a moment. Sorry, kids. Wipe your tears. We'll be back. right, back to it. As you know, I'm just going to say this again. Here's another person listening, right? Tim writes, Kirk's murder wasn't cut and dry like it's being portrayed. Lots of things don't add up, but there's no getting past the, quote, magic bullet. No bones in the human body can stop any factory 30-06 load at 200 yards. You're wrong. You're just wrong. And he says, now, if the shooter was using full metal jacket ammo, it's going to go through several human beings at said range. It might go through one or two. If, in fact, his bones were like a man of steel, as the doctor reported, the force of the impact would have cleaned him off the chair. It basically did knock him off the chair. Anyhow, it's a downward projection. It was a 30-06. It's got lousy ballistics. It is what it is. I don't need to argue about it. Anyhow, greatly appreciate it, you being here. And look, here's what we're going to do tomorrow. Here's what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to talk about the conspiracy theories. We'll find out what you guys think. I believe that the 30-06, look, I hunted professionally all over the world 25 years. Shot deer, moose, elk, animals in Africa, all over the place. I have a pretty good understanding of what bullets do and don't do. I mean, sometimes they don't do what you think they're going to do. They can hit a bone and run along the bone. They don't just blow through everything. You act like a 30-06 is a howitzer. It's powerful, but it's not that powerful. Come on. And if you've been around it enough, you can honestly say you're never sure what's going to happen. Would you anticipate that it would come out? I would. But again, it's the downward angle. It's the trajectory. It's the right to left. I mean, what do you think he was shot with if not a 06? What produced that kind of massive hemorrhaging? Come on. Stop it. At any rate, but we'll talk about it. I'll give you the platform. I will channel my inner Charlie Kirk, and you can say whatever you want. I don't have to agree with it, but you can say whatever you want. Fight the good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. Work harder. Be better. Is that better, Ivy? Work harder. Be better. Every day. We'll talk tomorrow.